One of the big frustrating things that a lot of like debate related stuff too is that like when you talk about like conservative destroys somebody else, the right leaning arguments are always so easy and the left leaning ones are so fucking hard. And it gets really frustrating trying because like in order to get like a lot of complicated positions, there's like a lot of prerequisite knowledge required. So like if I'm arguing with somebody over say like the position of black people in the United States, right? What do we have to do to help black people? The person on the right's argument is, well, everybody can be a success story. Here's a story of a random poor person. He's rich. Everybody just needs to do that. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, blah, blah, blah. Well, what's your thing, Stephen? What's keeping black people down here? It's like, okay, well, hold on. Well, so firstly, you've got the realities of generational wealth, right? If your grandparents did well, your parents probably did well, you're probably going to do well. You've got stickiness at the ends of economic quintiles of percentages. You've got things like, lead factors into crime levels, and black people are disproportionately in houses that contain lead. And this link is like really well researched, really, really well established. You've got policies like redlining and redlining and not gerrymandering, gentrification, things that have pushed black people into fucked neighborhoods, and you've got like the crack. There's like all these things that I have to explain to even get you to like my side of the argument, and I feel like I've already lost when I have to start going down these really complicated passages to explain like, this is why this group of people might be fucked, and then the other guy just has to utter like 2 lines, and he's already like fucking won the argument,
The other problem is, and I might be looking through my blue lenses. I feel like on the red side, they often have a very low standard of proof for what they want to believe.
I argued with this guy yesterday, actually. He's like Anthony something, the black conservative online guy. He's got like 200,000 YouTube subs. I don't know, like the hugest guy.
I heard of him.
I was arguing with this guy. So this guy knows who I am because do you remember that Joyner Lucas song, I think it's I'm Not Racist, where like the white guy raps and then the black guy counter?
Yeah, it's really good.
Sure. So this guy did like an observation of that, or his reaction, and I saw that he was conservative. I was like, oh no, this isn't going to be what I think it is, right? And it was. It was him listening to this rap, and in 20 minutes he agreed with every single racist viewpoint of the white guy and said everything the black guy said was wrong. So I did like a reaction to the reaction. I was like, this is insane. Well, this guy showed up on my YouTube chat yesterday because I'm streaming on YouTube, and he comes on to debate me, and I wanted to fucking blow my brains out. This guy is walking through every fucking racist talking point, unironically. It's a black guy that I've ever heard saying things like, so I bring up like, okay, well, he's like, how are black people held down here? It's like, okay, what about things like redlining that existed in like the 50s?
What is redlining? I don't think I've heard of that.
So redlining was the idea that basically a long time ago, it was official policies in businesses to not loan to black people. Like as a bank, you would say, we do not give loans to black people, period. Like that's it. Mm-hmm. And his excuse for that was like, well, it wasn't just discrimination against black people. They just didn't lend to people with low credit. And I'm like, really, dude? And then he's telling me like, well, yeah, my grandpa had a house in West Virginia. And it's like, okay, that's like a one-off thing. And then he just kept going on with like these anecdotes. Conservatives love one-off fucking stories. He's like, I got stories from my grandma, and she told me that the KKK would ride around, and when they went to black neighborhoods, they were handing out toys and stuff. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
We don't hear about individual stories of kids, illegal immigrants coming from Honduras who just wanted to learn to draw. And shit like
and
that.
That's the most frustrating thing to me. Like illegal immigrants are all fucking criminal fucking masterminds, MS-13 that are infesting the country in Trump's words. And it's like, okay, well, where are these same stories of like this poor illegal kid, this family that like, if I was in their position, I would do the same fucking thing every time, right? If I'm a father, fuck the country. I have zero allegiance to my country. My family will always come first. If I think that I can forge a better life for my family illegally immigrating to another country, I'll do it 9 out of 10 times, right? Assuming I can make the journey and not fucking die, or it might even be worth the risk, which some people think it is,
Do you think the U.S. then has like a moral obligation to import people from all over the world who are struggling in those ways?
I wouldn't say to import people because I don't think it's realistic that a country can take on an entire other population. But when you talk about like deporting every illegal immigrant, like this is a fantasy idea. One, it's not even economically feasible. Two, it's probably immoral. I never argue morality with conservatives because as far as I'm concerned, they have none. So I usually just try to argue like empirical, like economic realities, like, hey, illegals help our economy a lot. Just make them legal, bring them under the fucking tax base. Like it makes sense, and you can tell like Republicans are so not concerned with economic outcomes. When you look at things like DACA, like we paid for these people to be educated. Now they are educated. These are some of our best citizens because DACA people have no criminal record. They can't. A lot of them went to school. They register with us. They get temporary Social Security numbers so they can pay taxes. And now that we spent all that money educating them, you want to ship them back to Mexico? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why would you want to do that?
They all went to school. It's a DACA requirement.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that equating all illegal immigrants with the DACA recipients is dishonest. I mean, that's not fair.
It
at
is
all.
dishonest, but but DACA is the thing that Republicans attack, like hardcore. And it's like, if there was any group of immigrants that you should be championing, it should be the DACA kids. Like,
There are
these
bigger
are
fish to fry. If your concern is legal immigration, there's no reason to start with the DACA recipients.
Well, sure, but Trump was the one that rescinded the DACA thing by executive action.
But it follows a pattern of kind of hurting children, DACA recipients, the kids that come across the border, as a way to strong arm the liberals into agreeing to the conservative wants, like a wall.
Yeah.
I don't think the wall is ever going to happen. I think we could be much better served just increasing money for border security as it currently exists instead of building who knows how expensive wall. Like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think even most people like Ann Coulter, who that was her big thing of like a wall, like, they even have to be coming to the realization like this isn't going to happen.
Sure. Well, that's because even Republicans, and this is where I talk about a disconnect between Republicans and Trump. Republicans in general, I'll catch flack for saying this, but like Trump, in my opinion, is kind of like openly racist in a lot of shit that he says. Republicans aren't generally that politically stupid. So a lot of Republicans don't want to argue for a wall because they know that it hurts them in elections back home. So you're in this really weird spot where you got to go to the table with Democrats. And this is why they're having so much trouble getting legislation passed, where you're trying to represent the Republican agenda, but there's also this weird agenda that Trump wants to push, and he won't support you unless you're pushing it. But then no Democrat is going to agree with it. So you're in this like weird like two-way fracture in the Republican Party. And that's like one of the big reasons why nothing is getting done in Congress, even though the Republicans own the Senate, the House, and the executive branch, and soon the judicial branch. It's because Trump has all these like really weird desires that I don't think even mainstream Republicans are totally behind.
No, he's as a Republican president, he's not conservative by
Probably
Republican standards. No, not at all. I mean, he's against free trade, which and I've heard people make the case, oh, he's using this as an anchor point, as he does with all negotiations, and it's like, well, I mean, it's getting to the point already where we're seeing cost
trade
increases
wars.
on these trade wars, and so it's like, well, how long are we gonna
what
hold
dimension
this,
of
quote,
chess are we
bluff?
at this point, right?
No, we're playing rooftop backgammon. Like, we're playing totally different sports.